two examples. Republicans have nominated Pat Toomey as their Senate candidate. Now, for Pat Toomey, Wall Street wasn't just a career, it remains a way of life. He made a fortune on Wall Street pioneering the use of derivatives, the financial tools that played a huge role in the collapse of the financial market. Later, he was in Congress, and he carried the water again, fighting to deregulate Wall Street, again leading to some of the challenges that we've seen. And his most recent job was the head of a powerful Wall Street special interest group. He said time and time again that his economic theory is you move the country forward by giving more money to the biggest corporations or the wealthiest citizens. From working on Wall Street to representing them in Wall Street, he hadn't changed his tune, he hadn't changed his spots, and he won't as a U.S. Senator. We've got to say no to Pat Toomey and yes to the responsible leadership of Congressman Joe Sept. Are you ready to do that? In the important race for the governor's office. I mean, governor's races are critical. You've got redistricting. You've got the daily stuff of civic life, schools and public safety and parks and mental health and social services. Those all have their tracks right into the governor's office. And you've got to have a governor who understands communities like Philadelphia and the needs of cities and counties and towns all over this Commonwealth. Republicans have nominated Tom Corbett, a guy who was actually ridiculed Pennsylvanians receiving unemployment compensation during this horrible recession. What, it's okay to kick somebody when they're down? Is that these guys' theory? We've got to say no to Tom Corbett. We've got to say yes to the great and experienced Allegheny County executive, Dan Otterotta. Are you ready to do that? Yeah. I've drawn a sharp contrast. And some of you might think, well, maybe you're exaggerating the differences between the Dems and the Rs, and it's really not going to be that different if the Rs take control. But let me just remind you of what happened the last time the Republicans were in charge. The economic crisis that nearly brought our country to the knees was the end result of a decade of failed Republican policies. President Bush and Republicans squandered a budget surplus, ushered in record deficits, invited trouble by relaxing regulations on Wall Street, passed tax cuts for the wealthiest, while the rest of America struggled not to lose their grip on the American dream. Anybody who lost their job, or didn't have health insurance, or couldn't pay the rising cost of college was out of luck. While Republicans celebrated their party's political wins, the gap between the super wealthy and everybody else became a canyon. Median income declined. More American families were forced to live paycheck to paycheck, and a crisis was building. Even before President Bush left office, the crisis was in full swing. In the last year of the administration alone, millions of American jobs were lost. When Republicans had control of government, we don't have to look too far in the rearview mirror. They promised responsible leadership, but they failed to provide it. And when the bill came due, when their policies failed spectacularly, they passed that bill on to us. The cost, millions of jobs, an entire decade of opportunity gone. Returning the Republicans to power today would be like giving the keys back to Herbert Hoover in the middle of the 1930s. We'd be nuts to do it.